But my friend, there's another video game that came out as well in the past few days. One that mysteriously, or not so mysteriously, did not give out review copies until release day on Friday. And that was NBA 2K24. That was a, how should I say, a ode or a tribute for obvious reasons to Kobe Bryant, for the 2 for his daughter Gigi, and of course the 24 for him. That's a number he played with a good amount of his career with the Los Angeles Lakers. So I am happy to announce that the game is now out. A lot of people are experiencing it now. It does come from a company that has been very open and honest about its affection towards microtransactions and how their affection has been parlayed into virtually every single game that they now produce. It has been said on many times by the higher ups at 2K on many occasions during their conferences that they have to their shareholders. So, wouldn't you know, again, no review copies handed out beforehand. The first and only review at this time, when you go to Metacritic, is by IGN. No other major entity has been able to go ahead and provide a review as of yet. And wouldn't you know, they gave it a 6 out of 10, with the major caveat being it would have been a great game, but like the last year and the year before and the year before and the year before, the love for microtransactions hinders the player's
Yeah.
experience. So I ask you, my
Yeah.
friend, you are a
Mhm.
player in NBA 2K24. You are experiencing now as we speak. So what are your thoughts when it comes to this tribute, loving tribute to Kobe Bryant when you look outside the box? Inside the box, what do you get, and are you liking what you're doing right now in NBA 2K24?
Whew. Okay. Um, I
That
was
tells me a
prepared for
lot right
this.
there.
I was prepared for this. I was prepared for this conversation. So, what I absolutely, as a lifelong Los Angeles Laker aficionado, I mean, I'm talking George Mikan lover of the Los Angeles Lakers, right?
Mhm.
Back to find out that the Lakers were not originally from LA, which is why they have the name Lakers, because of the land of 10,000 lakes, Minnesota, Minneapolis. Point is, I I absolutely love the presentation. I love everything that they're doing in regards to honoring Kobe Bryant. Who I think is like his third time on a 2K cover, third or fourth time at this point. I think he was 2K. I know he was 2K10, and I think he was
Is it third, fourth,
2K.
or fifth?
I just know he's been on there quite a bit. So I know
Okay.
he's probably one of the few athletes that have been on there at least three. I know at least three times. It might have been four or five at this point. I forget because he's been on there that often. Point being is that I'm a huge fan of what they've been doing in regards to the presentation that they've been giving in regards to Kobe Bryant and some of his Mamba moments. I think that they lost a huge opportunity to drop 81 because that's not one of
Mhm.
the Mamba moments, but that's neither here nor there. On the aesthetics aspect, it's a great looking game. I think it actually is probably the best playing from a fluidity standpoint of the 2K series. Last year was a great leap forward in regards to that. The way the players moved on the floor, the locomotions that go into it, the fluidity of going side to side, front to back. I thought they made great improvements on that. It's something that we've been begging 2K to do for a long time, and they kind of have been very slow burned about doing it. I'm sure that there's a lot that goes into it, so I get it. I don't want to be the one that continues to complain, but they finally seem to figure out a lot of the movement, a lot of the nuances in regards to playing a game of basketball. The way that, as a player, you can push the ball up the court in front of you to kind of get yourself a little bit of space and develop some speed. Just little nuances that you'll notice. You can catch the ball instead of you bringing the ball back down to load up a shot. You can catch the ball and go right into a shooting motion, so it takes a half a second off of your shot release, which is the
Mhm.
difference between a green release, not contested, versus a contested shot that doesn't, drops the percentage down quite a bit. So it's little nuances that if you actually play the game of basketball and you pay attention to the things that they do, that you'll come to appreciate. You'll appreciate the matches. The computer now does a much better job of exploiting those mixed matches, one, and then filling those holes in the mismatch too. Before you'd have to be the one kind of in control and being the floor general, watching all of that. And now I'm very appreciative. I'm very appreciative of that. And in being appreciative of that, I can I can say that it plays very, very well. Now, the problem is, yes, 2K is in love with microtransactions. This is nothing new. This is not a startling revelation. It has been proven, it is factual that 2K is in love with microtransactions. No surprising. Yeah, that's a point blank period. So, with 2K being in love with microtransactions, it makes the player who doesn't want to spend extra on microtransactions very frustrated because it's a pay to win, much like a lot of the mobile games that we've played, much like a lot of the other games that we just don't really want to we don't want to dig into because you want it to be more based upon skill and not how much money you put into a game. You want it to be because you're the better player. It doesn't change the fact that this was a slippery slope 5 years ago, and a lot of us, a lot of video game players, a lot of editors and video game pundits and people that talk about this warned you, not you, but the audience warned the consumer that this is where we're going, and if we don't address it now, it's going to get worse. If we don't address it and we don't get them to the point they need to understand that we don't want this in the game, it's only going to get worse. Not only did we not tell them enough that we didn't want it, we're out here buying virtual currency like it's going out of style. I mean, you spend $70 on the brand new game because the $69.99 MSRP right off the jump for the current gen consoles, $69.99 right off the jump. Then you're paying for virtual currency, which is gonna range you anywhere from 20 to $50 depending on how much you want to actually buy versus how much you want to grind out. And then you have people that pay for XP boosts and stamina boosts and all this stuff. So if you've got the money, you can churn out an 85 overall player within probably a few hours of purchasing the game, as opposed to someone who I just want to spend $60 on the game and enjoy it because it should be a complete game at $60 or $70. I'm not spending an additional $50 on VC. I'm not spending an additional $60 on virtual currency. So it is very frustrating. It is very frustrating to be in situations like that. It's to the point where if the only way that we can really address this, and here's what I was saying about my last frustration with 2K. The only way you're going to be able to address this is if you have two different leagues, two different online careers, two different my players, one for people that purchase VC, one for people that don't. This way, if you want to go purchase VC and you want to be the best of the best of the best of those players that purchase VC, then go purchase your VC and enjoy and have fun. But at least allow the people that want to have the pure experience of grinding and building up their character from the ground up the old fashioned way, the opportunity to enjoy that. Because what you're doing is you're alienating a specific crowd that does not want to invest in doing that for a game that they've already paid top dollar for. I mean, you spend $70 to play the game when it comes out. $70 already. So you're already spending that money on that. And then they expect you to shell out money for VC to be competitive. This is just to be competitive. This isn't to be the best, this is to be competitive. For you to even stand a chance, you've got to buy VC. And it's just not fair. It's not fair to the people that want to play the pure game. It's not fair to make me have to purchase this in order to enjoy an aspect of the game that I've already paid for. Because if I'm going online to play against players that are already at level 87, 88, 89, what am I getting online for? What am I doing it for? Frustrating, and I don't mean to get on here and beat a dead horse because it is frustrating, but there are a lot of great things about this game. There are a lot of great, from the animations to the shooting mechanics, um, to the way defenses are played, the way defenses are run. It has the feel, it has the feel of an actual NBA game. There are minor hiccups that I have a gripe with. Like, for instance, if I'm doing the Mamba Moment games, the only thing that really irritates my soul about those is that the uniforms don't move. And what I mean by that is they don't, like if you actually play a regular pickup game, or if you're actually just playing games online, their shorts move, their shirts move, like it looks like clothing, it looks like cloth. But then you go into these Mamba moment games and like the uniforms don't move at all. It's a minor gripe, it really is, but it's a gripe nonetheless because it irritates me. It irritates me playing and everybody looks like they're playing in clay, playing in the old 2K jerseys and shorts that are just all stiff and don't move at all. So other than that, visually speaking, it's a fantastic looking game. They really taken their time to get the atmosphere correct, especially on the Mamba moments. They'll talk about things that are happening or that happened around that time of the game actually playing. So they'll talk about Kobe just flying in from being away from the team for a personal matter and already being in a bit of a have a chip on his shoulder move when he walked in the arena. So he's looking like he's going to go off today. They'll do little things like world building for the time that we're watching the particular game. So it's actually it's pretty cool to kind of go back in time and live those moments and actually have the world respond in a way that he does. Like he's going off at 58 points or whatever the 12 3-pointers, and they're just continuously talking about it. And they're actually like giving commentary like it's happening in real time. And then he goes off and drops another 3-pointer. They say he's still going. And it's just little things like that that truly engulf and engage you into this particular moment in sports history for the time that you're playing it. So there's a lot of things that it does right, and for everything it does right, they just microtransactions rear their ugly head and make it bad again. Like it's very frustrating that there's so many things that 2K does correct, so many things that 2K does well, and they still just it's frustrating, Gerald. It's very frustrating. Now, do I think it's 6 out of 10 frustrating? No. IGN, no. That's not.
Well, I mean, that's part of his. He did the same thing. It's the same reviewer that did 2K23,
Yeah.
citing the same concerns. It's just that it's a game that is really strong until you get to the point where you're stopped and burdened by microtransactions, where you
Yes.
cannot proceed forward with any consistency or any skill or any
Hmm.
real level of quality
Hmm.
without dipping into some microtransactions. And that's
Yeah.
that's he you know he's this I was reading the reviews while you were talking, and that's basically he showed the 23 and 24. He's saying virtually the same thing. It's almost like he had to copy and paste, like he didn't even need to go ahead and do that anything this year. He did. Okay, I'm not saying he didn't, but it sounds like a broken record. But
Yeah.
then again, we see the same thing as far as FIFA. Why has
Hmm.
that game been so much maligned all over the place? Depending on the version, is because the fact its reliance on microtransactions.
Yep.
With other games that are out there, 2K, especially with these sports games, 2K is really sending a message that we don't want you to enjoy the game without spending more money beyond what the $70 that you already spent.
See, I don't know if that's the message they're sending. I think they're sending the message of this is the way of the future. This is what people have been. This is clearly what the consumer shows that they wanted. If the consumer didn't show that they wanted it, then 2K wouldn't continue to do it. Everybody keeps talking about how bad this is, but if you look at the transactions and how much money virtual currency is bringing into 2K, there is zero way. I repeat, there is zero way that 2K is going to be like, yeah, stop doing that. There's no way when you see the amount of money that they're bringing in for stat boosts, they don't have the game. This is literally for stat boosts, and we expect 2K to stop. If the consumer's going to keep buying it, 2K is going to continue to do it. That's not going anywhere. I can assure you that we are in for the long haul when it comes to 2K and any other sports title, or not just NBA 2K, other sports titles as well. In regards to these microtransactions, it's not going away, because we haven't stopped purchasing it, we haven't stopped consuming it. So if it's not broke, they're not going to fix it. But my point is, that doesn't mean that the game itself deserves a 6 out of 10. There's frustration in regards to that aspect of it. Yes, absolutely. But to say that, in my humble opinion, to say that NBA 2K24 is only 6 out of 10 is not fair to the work the developers put into actually making the game making it feel like a game of basketball. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's a true reflection of what that game is. I would be perfectly fine giving that game an 8.5 out of 10 because the gameplay, when you're playing the game, it feels great. I think it's a little on the fast side. I think they can do with turning the speed down just a taste. But just a taste, not very much at all. I think that it's really right out the gate one of the best 2K games you can play right out of the gate. Now, a lot of times, 2K will have to go through and adjust things like inside shots or how the defender the closeout defense and how that affects the shot. They'll have to go back and tweak things as people have gotten more time with it, and as the people that stream 2K and play 2K competitively and all, they talk about it. So then they go out and make adjustments. But by and large, I think this is probably the most pick up and play friendly version of 2K in a while. And 2K23 did a great job in that regards as well. So 2K24 kind of just built upon the formula that 2K23 had and just made it a little bit better. But I don't think it's fair to give it a 6 out of 10. I think anything less than an 8 out of 10 is just being harsh and being unnecessarily harsh.
Well, but in your description
Hmm.
of what you went over,
Hmm.
you're saying quite a bit of the game is hampered because you have to go ahead and dip in, or being forced in many ways to go ahead and pay up more money than what you already spent. So, in essence,
Well,
that takes the
hmm
fun factor out of a lot of it, which
hmm
can, in my opinion, decrease the score quite considerably.
well, and that's fair. But the only thing that's going to affect is if you're doing my player. So, for instance, if you're playing the game for my player, then yeah, that's going to really mess up your score. But everybody doesn't play. I don't play 2K for my player. And the reason I don't play 2K for my player is because of microtransactions. I won't spend the extra money for it. So therefore, I'm not even going to get involved in that. Now, that's my point in saying it's disappointing that that aspect of the game that I paid full price for, I can't truly enjoy. But that's one aspect of the game. There are many other modes besides my player. Now, if your focus is on my player, then I can understand why you would feel as much the game being a 6 out of 10. But if we're being objective in looking at the overall picture of the game, my player is one aspect of NBA 2K. You have online franchise, you have offline franchise, you have pick up and play now, you have so many other mechanics and so many other things that go in the NBA 2K overall experience. It's not just my player. Now, my player is what's fancy, and it's what's getting people talking because it's what people are streaming on YouTube and Twitch and all this and that. But that's not the only aspect of 2K. So that's why I say if you want to knock that aspect of it, absolutely, you knock down a couple points. But the overall game in and of itself is not a 6 out of 10.
Okay. But again, it just, I can't see both sides of this equation,
Mm-hmm.
but especially when it concerns for me, if I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
buy it and I'm going to pay
Mm-hmm.
$70,
Mm-hmm.
I'm allergic. My doctor's told me I have a severe allergy to microtransactions.
Yep, yep, I ain't
So,
mad at you. Yep.
yeah, so seeing that as
Mm-hmm.
far as the game I want to explore and the game I really want to get into and spend a ton of time on, I mean, if my enjoyment is going to be severely hampered, that's a problem. Now, if it's just some cosmetic things or something on the side,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that's fine. Go ahead, do what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
DLC content, major DLC content, like for instance, we go back to Starfield, they're getting a Shattered Steel major $30 DLC that you need to buy to get into that. That's something different because you've got a 150-hour game that you're already playing. You're
Absolutely.
given an
Yep.
option of buying into this as for another 20, 30, 40 hours more. That's different because we
Mm-hmm.
saw that with Elder Scrolls games in the past, give you these kinds of experiences. That's a different story and different microtransaction of a different kind. But if you're doing this, that will literally prevent me from enjoying the game that you gave me or that you allowed me to buy for $70. If you're preventing me from doing that, that I have an issue with.
Yeah,
That I have a
absolutely.
problem with. And if you expect me to give it a good score because of that, it's not really something that I can feasibly do.
Right. But again, we're talking about one aspect of the game. We're not talking about the entire game. You're talking about the my player portion of the game. It doesn't have any effect on the pick up and play now, the association, the online association, a lot of the other aspects. So you're looking at 1/7 of the game. Now, granted, this is the part that a lot of people seem to want to gravitate towards because it's the more popular aspect of it now. I get that, and I'm not discounting that at all. But what I'm saying is, if you look at the overall total package of what this game offers, the my player, as far as I'm concerned, is a null and void thing for me. I don't even consider my player anymore because of that. because of the microtransactions. But that's not why I play NBA 2K. I play NBA 2K for the entire package, not just the my player aspect of it. So the my player aspect, yeah, I would knock off everything from my player. But because that's 1/6 of the game for me, I would knock off 1/6 of my score. Which, if I'm giving the game a perfect score, then it's going to knock it down to whatever a percent, whatever percentage is 1/6 of it is. So whatever percentage that is, that's what it would knock it off as far as I'm concerned.
I will say this though before we head out to talk about something else. I do want to mention again 2K24. It is out right now. It is available to go ahead and get. And I guess the total right now, depending on who you talk to, I looked it up. Kobe Bryant is the all-time leader in covers for NBA 2K with 6,
Wow.
followed by Allen Iverson with 5, and Michael Jordan with looks like 5 himself. So there you go. All right, just wanted to go ahead and mention that. But it is NBA 2K24. If you are playing it or have any thoughts on either the Lakers Fast Break or Pop Culture Cosmos, please let me know. Reach out on Pop Culture Cosmos or Lakers Fast Break on social media,